Rock Salt MUZKAST Experience. It's Aaron and Shane today. No, Dave and Shane. I'm Dave, not Aaron. Let me start again. Rock Salt MUZKAST Experience. It's Dave and Shane today.
Yeah, it's me.
No Aaron, no Patrick.
No, not that I know of.
They're a little too busy for us folk, man. Yeah.
So be it.
Anyways, but we did bring in my brother Jim and my niece Hannah. So golfers clap for the Beatons today. we could start our own sitcom or something. Have you guys watched F is for Family?
No, is it a movie or what?
No, it's on Netflix. It's a Bill Burr animated series. And I promise you, if you go watch it, you'll see so much of our family in his family.
Wow. Is that good or bad?
It's just funny. It's what it is. It's funny because, like in the first episode, there's a younger kid okay, so his family, they have 3 kids, and the middle kid is getting bullied and picked on and stuff like that. And the oldest kid, he's a teenager, and he's out with his girlfriend making out, and he finds out that his younger brother is in trouble, getting beat up by the bullies. And so his older brother, leaves the girl, comes and he saves the little brother, beats up the bullies, and then beats up the little brother for making him leave the girl to come save him. And I went, that is totally me and you.
Yes. Sounds about right.
Right? And yep. And I'm sure it's passed down from generation to generation.
Right.
So Hannah, I want to start out with that you've got a very successful business, I hear.
Yeah, it's a side business. It's keeping me busy, that's for sure.
Yeah, and tell us all about it.
Yeah, I make cake. Is it?
Are you like the new cake boss?
Sure.
I've seen some of your stuff. That's okay. You can kick Duff off of his throne.
I think I could too.
What's that?
I think I could too. Better looking.
Exactly. Well, you got hair, so that's a start.
That's right. Yeah, that's the number one.
That's overrated.
Yeah, well, some of us just move it from the top of our head to the bottom of our face.
Yeah, that's how it works for me.
Me too.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that means a whole new thing nowadays, Hannah.
I know.
Not really. Everybody's doing it, right?
Yeah. Why buck the trend is what I say. Just join in.
Yeah, I'm into it. Yeah. For it.
So, well, and you save on waxing, right?
Exactly. Exactly. We're about economical.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like saving money. Mm-hmm.
It's always a good thing.
Tasty stuff.
Ew.
What?
Tasty.
Cakes?
Oh. Yeah, my cakes are tasty.
Yeah.
What
the heck were you talking
I
about?
thought he was talking about waxing, and you said it was tasty.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the cake.
That's a perfect segue.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? Well, what's the name of your business, Hannah?
It's a Born Free Cake Company.
Okay, and you're what do you have a shop, or you just work out of the house, or what do you do?
I just work out of my kitchen.
That's awesome.
Saving on overhead, yeah. And we just built a house last year, so we kind of retrofitted the kitchen a little bit to make cake. But yeah,
that's awesome. And I've seen some pictures of the cakes that you make, and they rival Cake Boss type stuff.
Yeah, and there's no fondant. I'm not a fondant person, so it's all frosting.
Wow. Now, see, now I'm really impressed because I thought it was fondant.
Oh, no.
It's tasty too. It's not just nice to look at. It's good. She makes her own frosting from scratch and cake and all that stuff. It's good. It's quality cake.
Now, I don't know the logistics of any of this. I'm assuming that it's pretty much just local. You don't do shipping or online stuff, do you?
I haven't, but actually, a couple weeks ago, I think it was, I make cake jars, and I shipped those to Citrus Heights, and they made it. So that worked good.
What's a cake jar?
It's a jar of cake.
Self-explanatory.
Okay.
It's like a yeah, you just do like a cake layer, frosting layer, filling layer, and you just keep going.
Just dive into it with a spoon when
That's
you
right.
take the lid
That's
off.
right.
Oh, wow. Well,
Kind of like a mason. Figure a mason jar full of cake.
Kind of.
now,
Yeah.
now I want one. Now I
Yeah.
want one.
Yeah, I'll send you one.
Yeah, send me one.
I will.
And we'll actually send. I'll give you addresses and of course I'll pay you for it. But I'll send. Have you send like one to me, one to Aaron, and then one out to Kentucky to our friend Patrick, and we'll try him out on the show.
You can rate them for me.
I'm trying to hold.
Absolutely. Would you
Oh,
want to come
sorry.
in? Would you want to come on for the rating?
Sure.
Okay, fantastic. That'll
As long as
be
you're saying
awesome.
nice stuff. I can't handle rejection of any sort. So.
Okay, well, I'll warn Patrick about that because he's brutally honest.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, that's not gonna work for me.
We may have to kick him off of that show too.
I wouldn't have to
Have to
mute
step
him.
in.
What's that?
Huh?
What'd you say?
I said we might have to mute him or something if he's
Yeah,
not being
that's easy enough to do. Easy enough to do.
my fragile psyche can't handle it.
I'm in charge of the complaint department.
Yeah.
You know what? I would actually like to see you versus Patrick. That'd be funny, actually, because he's a pretty big Marine.
Yeah.
So that would be, that'd be like a good UFC octagon fight, wouldn't it?
Oh God.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna see if I
don't
can
wanna
set.
watch.
I'm gonna see if I can set that up for the show.
That's
He's probably 20 years younger than me too, right?
Yeah, he's in his 40s.
He's 20 years younger than me.
20 years older than him.
Well, I wasn't trying to give away your age, but
Oh, I'm not ashamed of it.
well,
He's like 39. He's not ashamed of that.
yeah. 39. Well, that makes me 29 then. So
You guys look great for your age.
yeah, don't we?
Yeah.
We aged
Yeah.
really well.
Like a fine wine, us beans.
Oh yeah. It's the Scottish in us.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, the Scottish are fine people.
That's right.
Yeah. See, warriors. That's what I always say. Highlanders. There
Yeah.
could be only one.
They can wear dresses,
My husband is Scottish too. He's a big bald dude with a red beard. So
See,
Yeah, he's
perfect.
in charge of complaints these days,
Yeah.
especially with young Marines.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
He's in charge of complaints when it's young Marines.
Okay, I might be able to set that one up.
He's a little bit bigger than I am. That's for sure.
All right.
It's only
Well.
because he's not wasting away from age.
I'm not wasting away.
No, you're not. Fine.
Well,
Right.
No. Uh-uh.
what?
Said I can still outride her.
Oh,
Better than me, which is not the case ever.
yeah. You have, from what I hear, you have a little collection of Harleys.
I do, yes. I have a 91 Harley Davidson Springer Softail. I have a 2015 Sportster, and the newest is a 21 Street Glide.
Nice.
And my husband has a 21 Road Glide and an 87 Softail. So we have too many motorcycles in the garage, depending on who you ask.
Nice. So that's awesome. And
They
I mean,
store my Indian for me.
what's that?
They store my Indian for me.
Yeah, we usually don't like Indians around, but we keep his.
Well,
because-
Indian motorcycles.
right. Right.
Let's
Oh,
be
yeah.
specific.
Sorry.
We're not talking about Aboriginal people. We're talking
No.
about motorcycles.
We don't like an Indian motorcycle rider, but we keep him around.
Somebody's got to ride the classy stuff.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, I'm a fan of Indian motorcycles because weren't they before Harley?
Yeah,
Were they?
Yeah. So they're the innovator.
Yeah.
they were before Harley. Yeah, Harley
Yeah.
was 1906, and
Oh, 03.
Indian was
Harley was 1903.
it 03?
Yeah, don't talk to me about Harleys. I don't know what I'm
It's
talking
right about the same time then. I don't know. I'd have to-
about.
I
Well,
don't have-
Jim, weren't you around back then?
Yeah, I was. That's what I'm trying to remember.
I mean,
Aw.
you're only a little bit older than me, but
10 years.
Is
Yeah.
it 10 years?
yeah, it's a 10-year difference.
Wow.
I got all the looks and the smarts. He got all the brawn.
I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to tell you what,
okay.
you guys look like twins. So if you got the looks, he did too. If he didn't get the looks, neither did you.
Well, I do like to tell the story every once in a while, and I hope you don't mind me bringing up this past, but when I was a teenager, I believe, you and I and your wife at that time all went out shopping for Christmas. You took me on a little shopping spree for Christmas, and you and I were walking side by side, and she came up behind me thinking you were me or I was you.
Weird.
Yeah. Seeing as there's quite a height difference between me and you.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Was that your first wife?
Was that my first wife?
Was it my mom?
No.
Mm.
If it was way before you, Hannah.
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah, if you were a teenager.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was like 17. So it would have been about 1988. Maybe I was younger than that. Might have been around 85.
Sam came at 88. So
Oh, yeah. Then it was way before that. Maybe I was much younger. Maybe it was like 13, 14. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, Sam was born in 88.
that makes the story even weirder, though, if you were basically a kid.
Yeah. But really, right?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I got more of the looks in the brains.
All right.
Agree to disagree, he says.
Since I brought you on to talk about family stories, let's do a break here, and then we'll come back and we'll hit some of the Beaton family stories in the next break. Hopefully, Shane, you got one, and I know you guys got a ton of them, and I've got a few. So we'll take a break here, and we'll come back and we'll with more Beaton family dysfunctional stories.
Fun. It's fun.
Yes, we put the fun in dysfunctional. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's the Rock Salt MUZKAST experience. Rock Salt MUZKAST experience. And with me, I got my niece, Hannah Smith now, right?
That's right.
All right. See, had to trade in the name for Smith.
I had to get something normal.
Right. What now Beaton is actually I found out that it's essentially like the Smith name in Scotland. There's a
Really?
lot of Beatons out there.
It's way old. It's an old name.
Well,
I mean, if you Google me or my name, I should say, David Beaton, you'll find pretty much everything that comes up is the Cardinal David Beaton from like the 15th century, and he was a murderous tyrant.
Yeah, he
nice.
was a shyster, that one.
Yeah.
I think they have a little phrase. They say you wouldn't, if you're pulling a fast one on somebody, they say you wouldn't be pulling a Davy Beaton on me, would you?
Exactly. I've met a few Scots, and I've told them, well, my dad was all into genealogy, and he kind of traced me or us back to the Cardinal, and they go, oh yeah, Cardinal Beaton. Mhm, yeah. That's like it's kind of like saying telling people, yeah, they they trace my genealogy back to Hitler, and they go, okay, Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mussolini, yeah.
Yeah, something to be proud of.
Right.
He had the name traced back to William Wallace, for crying out loud.
Braveheart.
The old man did. He had it traced where Wallace married a Beaton.
Yeah. Well, I tried to tell a friend once that in the movie Highlander, he's a McLeod, which is where the Beatons are part of the Clan McLeod.
McLeod.
Yeah. And I said, our family, of course, we're not in the true sense of the movie term Highlanders, we're not carrying around swords and cutting people's heads off.
Speak for
Speak for yourself.
Debatable.
Screaming there could be only one, but I told him, we're part of the Clan McLeod. We're Highlanders, and he would not believe me that was even a real thing.
Well, they've been trying to. It just seems like lately in this country they're trying to destroy history. It's believable stuff. It's stuff to be proud of, and people mix it up so much they lose their names and their family history and their pride.
Yeah, they know nothing about their history. And this actually came up. I'm going to get off on the rails here for a minute, but this actually came up in a thought of mine the other day, which is I was watching some video about cultural appropriation and, you can't dress up as this person for Halloween, or you can't dress up as that because it offends this culture and all that nonsense. And I went, well, nobody seems to mind culturally appropriating the Scots, because everybody wears kilts for whatever reason, well, not everyone, but a lot of people do. And I go, well, you're not Scottish. What are you wearing a kilt for?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm Scottish and don't wear a kilt.
I heard
I'm cultural. What? Yeah. Well, let's keep my private life out of this. Okay.
Sorry.
What you do in the privacy of your own home, I guess.
But nobody seems to care about that cultural appropriation. And I went,
I don't know. They do it to make a point or whatever.
Yeah.
Usually a stupid point. So, you want to wear a kilt that makes you feel that way. What about the guy who thinks he's Scottish and got his roots and he made a mistake, and he kind of got into wearing kilts,
What are you gonna
do? Hell, you're not Scottish anymore. Take your kilt. Give me a break already.
Yeah. I mean, and really that's where I kind of went with this is, I don't get offended that people who aren't Scot wear kilts. That's not where I'm going. What I was getting at was the double standard of it is like, well, it's not okay for this group, but it is okay for that group.
Right.
Yeah. So anyhow, I'm going to start with one of the dysfunctional Beaton stories. And it's one of my favorites. In fact, I was just telling this story a couple of weeks ago to somebody, and Hannah, you could probably help me out with this story because it involves you, and you probably know the story better since I've heard it secondhand from Jim, or third hand, whatever. About the time that your sister had some friends over, and you had the bar in your backyard, and you ended up putting the Stone Cold Steve Austin standee up on the bar. Do you remember this? Okay.
A little bit, yeah.
I'll just let you tell the story because we'll hear it firsthand from you instead of third hand from me.
You might know better.
Okay. Well, this is how I tell the story, which is that your sister's a little older than you, and that she had some friends over, and your dad had a garage in his backyard that he had turned into essentially a bar, because it had a bar in it, but it was also a playroom type thing. It had all the, ping pong table and shuffleboard and darts, and it was just a nice place to hang out. Right. And so you were hanging out with your sister. She had some friends over, and one of the friends told you you to run along or get out of there or something like that. Am I good so far? Am I telling the
Yeah.
story?
None of them like me.
None of them liked you. All right. I didn't know that part of the story. I just figured what?
Yeah, I'm just the little sister.
Yeah, I just figured it was a younger sibling sort of thing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so you and this is what I love about you, Hannah, is you never back down from a fight.
No.
And and I don't
Why
mean
would you do that?
yeah. And I don't know about physical fights, but I know as far as, just standing up for yourself, you never had a problem doing that. And so so this guy told you, why don't you get out of here? Why don't you run along? And you said, well, I don't have to, because this is my dad's place.
Great.
And he said something to the effect of, oh, what are you gonna tell your dad on me? He's gonna beat me up or something. And I'm losing train of thought here, but you had a 1 foot tall Stone Cold Steve Austin cardboard standee in the bar there. And you said, well, I don't have to. This is my dad's place. And he's like, are you going to stick your dad on me? And one of his friends went, no, I don't think you want to do that. I don't think you want to go there. This is the way I remember the story. And he said, what? I'm supposed to be afraid of her dad? And he goes, yeah, you see that standee over there, that Stone Cold? That's her dad. And he goes, no. And he goes, yeah, dude, that's her dad. I don't think you want to go here. And you were kind of like, yep, that's my dad. What are you going to do?
A lot of people were like, that's your dad when they met him. Yeah, he's a big bald guy with all the tattoos. Now it's not like so crazy to be a big bald guy with tattoos, but back then you didn't see it as much, like he was scary to people.
Yeah. Well, he was very intimidating, that's for sure.
He's got an RBF too. So,
what's that?
Resting bee face.
Oh yeah. Well, we all have that. That's part of the beaten curse.
That's true. That's very true.
That's why all us guys grow the beards and everything, is just to cover up our face.
Well, you're just showing off now because I can't grow a beard. So
yeah, well, like I said, hey, nowadays there's a way around everything like that.
It's true.
And
That's
no one will judge you for it.
My husband might, but
okay, well, he might. And that's definitely an important person, He'd
be like, nice beard, bro.
And then high five you and go, hey, let's go for a ride.
Yeah.
We'll go down to the local bar and, pick up chicks and have beers.
Yeah, he would. He goes with the flow pretty well in our family.
Okay. See, I've never met him or talked to him, so I don't know if I'm offending at the moment.
No, you're not.
Okay.
No.
So I have a story for you, David.
Okay, let me see your face.
This one's classic.
Okay.
It's the Christmas teak nut bowl story.
I love this story. By the way, I still have that teak wood giant nut bowl in my bedroom to this day.
You got your gavel?
No, the gavel was lost. But I do want to replace the gavel.
Anyway, I can't hold this phone and get it right anyway, but
hey Hannah, help the old man out for a minute.
Okay.
He's technology challenged.
A little bit, yeah.
It's not technology challenged. It's just
it is
little thing and whatever.
It's okay. I'm technology challenged too. I've been working on setting up this Zoom call for like 2 hours, yelling at the computer. So
anyway, it's Christmas, and Ken, the old man had gotten back from Vietnam or Thailand, basically, and he brought a bunch of stuff back.
Cool stuff too.
It was cool stuff, yeah.
Really cool stuff.
And one of them was a big How big is that wall? It's the size of a basketball, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a walnut that's
It's a
literally
walnut.
like that
Fine.
big.
And it's cut in half, and it's maybe a little bigger than a basketball. And you opened up the walnut, and it was hollow inside, and that's where you put your nuts. And then it
Your
had
walnuts.
then it had a gavel for busting your nuts open, and then it had the nut crackers and everything in there, the tools to dig the nut meat out and such.
Oh.
So this thing is sitting there. Mike and I we're racing slot cars. We got slot cars for Christmas.
Now, Mike is my middle brother. Mike's
Yeah.
8 years older than me. Jim's 10 years older than me. And Mike's got middle child syndrome. He always hated me.
Yeah, well, he hates everybody. But,
Yeah, that's true. He does hate everybody.
he doesn't
Discriminate.
he doesn't discriminate that.
No, he
way,
hates
no.
everybody equally.
So anyway, we figured out that if you took your slot cars and you took a little dab of Crisco and put it on the slot car track, when you hit the thing, that thing would it burn them off. It's go sideways and everything all the time because the tires were slipping. Well, Dave, Mike and I are playing this thing and having a good time with it. Dave, being a little guy, he says, he wants to try, Well, I'm the oldest, so I'd never give up my controller, but Mike should. And Mike wasn't giving up the controller this time. So we're sitting there racing, having a good time. Dave's kind of whining at Mike. Come on, give me a chance, the whole shoot match. And all of a sudden it gets quiet. Mike and I are racing. And I hear this, geez, it sounded like somebody knocking on a door, I was pounding on a door. And I look back and Mike's ducking and Dave's got the gavel that was out of that big nut bowl. And he's bonking Mike on the head because he's so mad that Mike wouldn't let him play. Well, anyway, Dave takes off running. Now, if you'd been in our house, it was kind of a loop,
Yeah.
And,
well, let me paint a picture a little bit. It's kind of like an episode of Cops where I just ran up behind him and went bap, 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 and then dropped the thing and ran like a mobster.
Mike chased him down. I can't recall if he caught you or not. I think you locked yourself in the bathroom.
I believe Mike just locked me in the closet, which he was known to do.
Yeah, Mike did that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, that was kind of funny.
That was a good one. The other thing that Mike used to love to do, and I have no idea why he gained so much enjoyment out of this, but back in the 70s, it wasn't uncommon for a family to have a family dinner of KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and you get the big bucket of chicken with all the mashed potatoes and stuff like that. And so we'd have these styrofoam containers of mashed potatoes left over. And for some reason, Mike used to love to he would hang out behind a corner and he'd be walking by and he'd have that container of mashed potatoes ready to just smash in your face.
In your face. He had a thing that smashed and stuff. Food in your face. He's a weird dude, man. He said, like, one day I was walking in the house and he says, "It's got half a tomato." He goes, "Smash this in my face." He's giving me this tomato. I'm like, what is wrong with you, man? He said, no, you want to. You'll love it. Smash this in my face. I'm like, Mike, I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it.
That's weird.
It is weird.
It is weird. It also sounds like a setup.
A little bit, yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Well, I didn't go for it. I'll tell you what. You do your weird food smashing on your own. Eat the stuff, okay? It's good Lord.
I'm not a willing participant in your food smashing fetish.
Extremely odd.
One of the other stories that involved Mike was I just had it on the tip of my tongue too, and I've since forgot it, but one of the ones that I vividly remember as a little kid was Mike is he's an artist. He's a very talented artist, and he used to watch a lot of cartoons growing up. Yeah. And I remember he was watching Pink Panther cartoon on TV one day, and this was when you had the big console TV that weighed about 800 pounds with the 13-inch screen. You know what I'm talking about?
Takes 3 men and a small boy just to move it.
Yeah, and a forklift.
Yeah, it usually had a turntable in it and a stereo and the whole shooting match.
Yeah, it was a nice piece of furniture.
Exactly.
Nowadays we don't look at TVs as furniture, but back then it was furniture. So anyhow, I really wanted to watch Sesame Street, and he was watching Pink Panther, and he had been watching it for a long time, I felt, at least. So I first asked, can we watch? And he said no. So I went up and I just changed the channel. And he silently got up and changed the channel back. And then I just went up and changed the channel again. And he silently got up, changed the channel back. And then I did it again. And then he came over and he punched me in the stomach. This little 5-year-old kid. He punches me in the stomach, goes over, changes the channel, and sits down without saying a word about anything.
Yeah. So it sounds like Mike.
It was like message sent. I tried to warn you.
Yeah. Well, you know how that goes.
Yeah. Well, I remember the Mike story. And Jim, you could tell this way better than I could. The story of Mike backing up our grandparents' toilet. Do you remember this?
No.
Okay. I'll set it up, and I'm sure you'll probably remember as we go along. But I believe
about Ruthie.
Yes.
Oh, that woman.
Yeah. But I believe it was our grandparents. Maybe it was Uncle Dave and Aunt Jean. I don't remember, but and I think this was before me, by the way. I think this was before I was born, but I've heard the story several times. How he decided he was going to put like all kinds of paper in the toilet, and he backed up the toilet. You look at it sideways, Shane. This is the mind of Mike Beaton. Okay, don't try to wrap your head around it. It doesn't make sense.
Was this just for fun?
Probably. I don't know. You'd have to ask your dad, but he was
not. I don't remember him doing it, but it doesn't sound like it's too out of his wheelhouse.
Right. So anyways, he backed up the toilet pretty good, and whether it was our grandparents or Uncle Dave and Aunt Jean, they got really upset that Mike had done this. And back in the day, when you say you were going to discipline a kid, it involved some physical discipline.
Yeah, you got your butt whooped. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to call it abuse, but it was physical discipline. And so
you apply the Board of Education to the seat of knowledge.
Right. Exactly. And so the physical discipline was well on its way to Mike's seat of knowledge. And Jim jumped in front of him in between the Board of Education and Mike and went, "You can't hit him. He's retarded."
Well, after what he did, I had a pretty good point to make. I don't know. We say what you want about Mike. We used to look out for each other.
Well, yeah, you did. Well, it goes back to that, what I was talking about with F is for family, which is you would come in and save the day. And you kind of were the savior of, the two younger brothers. You were the one who looked out for everybody when not everybody looked out for you. But it goes back to that. I needed saving. And so I interrupted you with this girl. So you came over and you saved me. But at the same time, you had to beat me up because, I interrupted your time.
Well, you got to pay a price for that kind of help. That's the way it works. Trust me, you weren't the first one.
Oh, well. Shane, you got any stories?
I've been trying to think of something. I can't right now.
All right. Well, Shane's got his own personal hell that he has to deal with. He's probably got his own stories that
Yeah.
he should probably see a shrink about.
She erased your gate, or when he got in a fight with the kid
A
in the
neighbor
pool.
kid.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great story.
Hey, Shane, do you remember that little kid that you couldn't stand when you guys were swimming at my house at the pool?
I remember that
little
kid.
bump in there, right?
I don't.
You
He
guys,
was-
oh
not
my
remember
God,
any of
man. Well,
this.
I'm gonna.
I remember
I'm
that
gonna
little
let-
kid. He was a pain in the butt, man.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, Shane just couldn't stand him.
Hated him.
Every every time that the kid would look away or something, Shane, I think was giving him a knuckle sandwich in the head or something. So I don't know what it was. It ended up just being me. I was watching you and that little kid, and he was just kind of a goofy kid. It's a kid that couldn't swim, and he'd go jump in the deep end. It's like,
That is
what
weird.
are you trying to do, man? What are you stupid? Like, anyway, he really got under Shane's skin. Oh my God, Shane could not handle this kid.
No.
And you'd been pecking, you guys have been picking at each other all day. I'd been sitting there and I'm like, it was just picking stuff. So, so finally, me being me, I said, all right, you two clowns, get up here on the lawn. I said, we're going to have a fight. I said, I want this over with. I want to see some blood. I want to see teeth falling out. I want a real fight. None of this punch and run stuff. I think Shane was all for it. He's
Sounds about right. I would.
Squared around,
This other kid was
I
like,
The other
I'm
kid
turning out a
did.
good fight.
Huh?
Said I've never turned down a good fight.
Well, there you go. I mean, if it seems fair, why not?
Yeah.
But you just if all day he was bugging you. I think he knew he was bugging you. And if not, you were kind of making it real to him that he was bugging you. And I still never forget the look on you guys' faces when I said, "That's it, man. We're gonna fight now." I mean, this picking stuff is over. We're gonna fight like men. No, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. It's okay with it. Quit hitting on each other because
how old do you
it's.
think you were?
I don't know. You had to be I think you were maybe 6 or 7.
Just
Yeah.
little.
Yeah, you weren't very old.
Yeah. Good time.
I think kindergarten
Mhm.
or around that time.
Well, I've got a Shane story, and you're welcome to jump in on this one, Shane, because you were there for it. Shane was in junior high. I think you were like 8th grade or something like that, 7th, 8th grade, something like that.
Yeah.
And I worked a good half hour, 45 minutes from where Shane went to school. And I got a call at work from the principal of, you need to come down and pick Shane up. He's being suspended for fighting. And now we're telling stories here, but Shane he's not a troublemaker. He's a trouble finisher, but he's not a troublemaker. And I went, well, sounds really odd, but geez, I'm on my way, taking all this time off work so I can go find out what happened. So I get out there and I pick Shane up and I go, dude, what happened? He goes, I was in a fight. It's my fault. I accept the responsibility. And I went, well, that's all fine and good, but this seems so out of character for you. He goes, no. I said, well, you got to tell me. He's like, no, that's it. I hit the kid and that was it. Well, I told the principal, I said, I'd like to speak to the teacher. Have the teacher call me. So the teacher called me later that evening. And I said, so what went down here? And she said, well, Shane has been bullied by this kid for, what was it, Shane, all year?
Yeah, a good year.
Okay. And he sat behind you in class, right?
Yep.
Okay. And he said some not so nice things about you. I'm not going to get into it because it's not worth rehashing, but
What, just call me a ginger and all the other stuff?
Yeah.
I get called every day.
Yeah.
I don't care. Go right ahead now.
but back then, as we all are in, 7th or 8th grade, we're trying to fit in and, all of that. So it's a form of bullying. And so Shane goes, hey, you need to knock this off, or I'm going to essentially take it to the next level. And the kid decided he didn't want to knock it off. And so the next thing that the teacher told me, she goes, I had my back to the class and I heard this ruckus and I turned around and Shane had this boy in a headlock and was punching him in the face. And yeah.
Well, it sounds like a fight.
And she said, she goes, it was, once again, it's so out of character for Shane, but she goes, I immediately said, Shane, stop. And she goes, thankfully he did, because I've got to tell you, Shane was punching him like a man. And I went, well, I've
Well, how
got
else do you want?
I know.
right.
What are you doing? Do a little butterfly punch? What is that? I don't know.
I said, well, I've got to ask, did this person deserve it? Because sometimes my reality is, and I know it's not normal reality nowadays, but in my reality, sometimes you've got to send that message, and that's the only way that you can convey it. Some people are so thick-headed that they are just never going to understand unless there's some pain to go along with their stupidity.
There's only one way to handle a bully. And that's it.
Yeah, is stand up to them. So she said to me, well, honestly, yes, he did deserve it. And I mean, she goes, I can't say that as a teacher, but as a parent, I can tell you that. And she said that the boy was doing this all year long, and that nobody really likes him in the school because he's doing it to everybody. And I said, well, I've got to ask you what you're going to do to ensure that this doesn't continue, because I will tell you that he'll do it again. And while I understand your suspension, that he didn't, because they have a zero tolerance for fighting. And I said, so I understand that, but now that we know that this problem is here, what are we going to do to solve the problem and ensure it doesn't happen again? And she goes, well, I can move him to the other side of the school. I said, well, good, let's do that. And she goes, yeah, they don't like him over there either. And I'm like, well, that's sounds like his parents' problem, not my problem. So you can discuss that with them. But she said, okay. And that's what they did. And I went to the next. Oh, well, when we went home, I said to Shane, I said, first of all, look, you got a 3-day suspension, and it does not mean that you can sit home and play Xbox and watch TV. While you are right, while I do support you in what you did, there are consequences for our actions, and this is what the consequence is. So I wasn't hardcore about it or anything like that. I just said no Xbox, really. So and then I told you this. I love this story, by the way. It's Alice Cooper and the chicken story, which is Alice Cooper back in the 70s, when he was trying to make a name for himself. He was doing this show, and somebody tossed a live chicken up on stage from the crowd. Now, that's a whole other story in itself, why anybody would bring a live chicken to an Alice Cooper show, but that's what they did. And Alice Cooper grabbed the chicken and he tossed it back out into the crowd, where it was promptly quartered, drawn and quartered. And of course, the animal rights people went out of their minds, and the media went crazy, calling Alice a Satanist and all this. And if you know Alice's history, he's not a Satanist. And so he's sitting around talking to Frank Zappa one day, and Frank asked him about the chicken story, and he goes, honestly, Frank, I thought I figured they had wings. I thought they could fly. He goes, so I figured if I threw it back out, it would fly away. And he goes, it didn't. And Frank told, what?
It's a chicken.
Yeah.
No.
So Frank told him, hey, have you told anybody else that yet? And he goes, no. He goes, don't. Frank says, don't tell anyone that. He goes, just keep your mouth quiet and let people think what they want to think. This is the best publicity you'll ever get. And that's what Alice did for the longest time. And he got great mileage out of it. I told Shane when he came home, I said, listen, when you go back to school in a few days, everybody's going to ask you what happened. And your response should be, what was the response?
Don't talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. And I said, and then the rumor is going to go crazy. And at the end of the day, it's going to be, don't mess with Shane. He just picked on the biggest guy in the school and brought him down. And and he didn't brag about it. I just don't want to talk about it, man. It's a dark time in my life, brother.
It's a dark time in my life.
So I went to the next parent teacher conference. And one of the things I always asked in the parent teacher conference, because I know how important this is how is Shane doing socially in school? Does he have friends? What's going on? And they said, well, he's made significant improvements socially ever since the incident. And yeah, that's pretty good. That's good enough for me. As long as he's, So that's one of my favorite Shane stories. There's another Shane story that I love that Shane, when he was a young baby, a young child, he couldn't say his S's. Anything that started with S, he couldn't say it. He just dropped the S. And so we were driving around. Shane's in his car seat one morning, and it had snowed in Reno where we lived. And he kept going, look, Daddy, no. Look, Daddy, no. And I was going, I'm sorry, I don't understand. What are you trying to say? Look, Daddy, no. That's all he would say over and over. And I turned to my wife and I went, I don't know what he's saying. And she tried, and she's like, I don't know what he's saying either. And look, Daddy, no. And it just kept going. And, most people would say, oh, a bad father would never do anything like that. And I agree, but they also don't know the Beaton family. And we have a certain threshold that once you reach it, it goes from, oh, I'm down on the RPM level. I'm down in the 1500 range to I've reached that threshold. And, oh, now I just redlined, which was so he kept saying. And I went, oh, I don't know what you're saying, Shane. And I felt like I hurt his feelings so bad. But Nancy was finally able to decipher it. And she's going, oh, he's trying to tell you, look, Daddy, snow. He was so excited. And I was just like, oh, no, I don't know what you're saying.
Poor Shane.
I know. I think it comes from the old man, Ken, because he was pretty good at reaching that threshold where it was just quiet. And then all of a sudden something would come flying towards your head.
Yeah, I know.
Well, all right. Well, I've gone way over time and I've told a lot of stories. Hey, thanks for coming on, guys. I definitely love having you guys on. Hannah, come back and talk to us about your business, and I will set something up where we can all try out your cake. You still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is a talking sort of thing, just to let you know.
You're kind of cutting out.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up here. Give me your cake business name again.
Born Free Cake Company, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram
under Born Free Cake Company, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Born Free Cake Co, but same thing.
Yeah, I get it. All right. Yeah. Well, we'll link it on our Facebook and everything as well, so people can come find you, especially out in South Dakota, right?
Yes.
It's kind of cold here today.
It's a little chilly for Sacramento. It has been down in the 30s.
It's been cold.
Oh,
It's 3.
It's 3 here.
It's -17
Yeah.
It's 3.
We're gonna have a high of
I
0
don't
on
miss that.
Friday.
I don't miss
Next
that.
week
Well-
will be -17.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we all make choices in life, and my choice was not to move to South Dakota. So
Oh, Colorado was
too.
the same.
yeah, and unfortunately, there's a give and take because I did choose to live in California, and that's turning out to be a very unwise choice as well.
I was gonna say, how's that working for
Yeah.
you?
No,
How's it
it's
Gavin take care of you?
well, yeah, no, it's more like asking, how am I working for Newsom?
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Because
can I
every-
do? Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? That should be his campaign. What can you do? Don't ask what you can do for yourself. Ask what you can do for Gavin Newsom, because
Yeah.
every day there is a brand new tax that we don't seem to benefit from in any sort of way.
Hey,
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is.
It's-
And
it's-
I do like your governor out there. And I always fall back to that whole drug campaign. Meth, we're on it.
We're on it.
Yes, we're on it.
It's about as bad as the driving in inclement weather is don't jerk it, I think it was.
Yeah, don't jerk it.
Was that a campaign out in South Dakota?
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Yeah, when you're driving on the ice, don't jerk it.
All right. Well, it's wise advice, I guess, but
Hey, it makes sense.
yeah, but I've got to ask. Hey, maybe Hannah, you could help me with this. I've got to get some of those people who make these things up on my show and ask them what are they thinking.
I'll start asking around. There's like 5 people in South Dakota, so they shouldn't be hard to find.
Okay.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah, right. Well, you do have the internet, right? I mean, so we got that going for
Yeah,
us.
we got us telephones and indoor plumbing too.
You don't have to have the outhouse anymore. Well, I did love that the first time I visited South Dakota. I was driving through all these all these houses that had these second floor doorways with no stairwells off of them. It was just the side of the house and a doorway that went to nowhere. And I went, makes no sense to me. What's this doorway for? And you told me, well, it's for when the snow gets really bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if the snow's so bad that I need a second floor doorway, maybe I don't want to live here.
No, you're still going to work. If you better
Oh,
use that
trust me.
second floor doorway.
Yeah.
They're not calling anything off for
You
us.
better have thought about it and dug that car out last night.
Yeah. Yep. No prisoners around here.
No,
We've had
no
a
snow
blizzard for
days.
the last 2 days. I haven't missed a minute of work.
No, me
Yeah.
neither. And I don't live in town, but
So
Well,
yeah.
you know, South Dakota, where the men and men and the women are women, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm in California where the men are women and the women are men. So
True.
well, at least you got it all worked out, right?
yeah, well, you know, it throws you a curveball every once in a while, but you know, the longer I'm here, the more you look for the telltale signs of what's what.
Yeah, it's funny. Lola, that song Lola came out a long time ago too.
You know what? Maybe Newsom should use that as his campaign song.
There you go. There you go.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming on the show. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas, guys.
You too.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you.
And hang on the line. This is the ROCKSALTMUZKAST experience.